in the midst of an FLSA suit now and had me opening 30 minutes early, bartending, hosting, bussing, taking and bagging to-go orders, cashing out customers' checks in excess of side work, well, over 20%. Okay, interesting comment, because what stood out for me is we're talking about the 80-20 rule, which is the DOL reg that says that an employer, a restaurant, cannot require employees to do non-tip generating work over 20% of the time. Now, some of the things that is mentioned in this comment are tip generating work. Bartending, customers tip you for that. Hosting, customers tip you for that. Bussing, customers could tip out a busser for doing a good job cleaning the table before they sit down, or maybe even afterwards if they made a little bit of a mess. And so, taking and bagging to-go orders could be a tip-generating job because it's typically customarily something that you would tip a restaurant employee for. Hopefully, people do that. But non-tip generating work could be rolling paper towels, stocking up straws, chopsticks, refilling sriracha sauce, refilling different types of sauces, things that customers don't have to be there to enjoy, but you're supporting the restaurant by stacking up little plates, little things like that. You could be chopping up pepper before the restaurant opens. You could be putting sauce together and putting trays of these little sauce containers now. So you're generating a lot of time in the restaurant as a server or a bartender, and you're not getting tipped for it because these are side work. Customers don't tip you for stacking up a bunch of bowls or stocking up with silverware or plasticware. And so it's really important to distinguish time that is tip generating and time spent on non-tip generating work, because the DOL is requiring employers to actually keep track of time for employees when they're doing non-tip generating work. So a couple of suggestions to do this is assign your employees to do non-tip generating work in 30-minute increments and keep track of it. And 30 minutes or less. That way it's easier to track, just big segments. And you gotta track it. If they don't track those hours, you could discipline them for it. Now, let's roll back a little bit and talk about this 80-20 rule. The Texas Restaurant Association actually challenged the implementation of the 80-20 rule. They filed a lawsuit seeking an injunction in the Western District Division. And the judge denied the injunction, went up to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal. Then this FLSA lawsuit, this injunction, was reversed and went back down to the same district judge. And the judge ruled on it, read the rules, and said, hey, this rule is not arbitrary and capricious. It's enforceable. The DOL is allowed to implement a reg that explains what non-tip generating work is and whether or not an employer can benefit by getting a tip credit for non-tip generating work, or do employers have to pay the minimum wage for the time employees spend generating non-tip generating work. So the 80-20 rule is now in place. You've got to follow it now. And employers that don't follow this rule are at risk of getting sued for minimum wage violation. So remember, the burden of proof to maintain, to track the hours that employees are spending the 80% of the time on tip generating work, max 20% of the time for non-tip generating work. That burden of proof is on the employer, not the employee. Okay, back to work.